Hi, I'm Blake Buttram here with Arkansas Retirement and Wealth, and usually in these videos you see myself and Matt Minton, our other advisor here in the office, but today we've got Matthew Giberson, who I call Gibby. He's our marketing director, so anything you see on Facebook or our website, he heads these up, these videos. Everybody that really knows me knows that this might be my least favorite thing to do up here, but here we are. So today he wanted to just do a little something different regarding a conversation we had this morning.
So I have quite a bit of experience in marketing. However, my formal training is in Bible college and ministry. So I just thought, I'm new to this world, and I have questions about saving and investing that I'm sure a lot of people my age, I'm 39, I'm sure a lot of people my age have the same questions. And we're just getting started, just getting going. And so I like to make an entire series of just retirement and investment advice for young people. And so the question that we had earlier that I was asking Blake about was, is it more beneficial when you have a large sum of money come in, like we're going to sell one of our recreational items, and we're going to have a large chunk of money? Would it be better to take that money and put it towards the principal of our auto loans? Or would it be better to throw that into an ETF or some other type of investment?
And I gave him a politician's answer. Well,
He sure did.
It depends. So, one of the things that he was considering, and he talked to Matt and I about the other vehicles. So we kind of knew a little bit of the background beforehand. But he was talking about refinancing his vehicles in, what'd you say, 8 or 9 months, right? Mm-hmm. So, the very first thing that I mentioned to him, well, who knows what rates are going to be. If you look at what the Federal Reserve's doing, I mean, some of the governors on the Board of Governors, they actually said that they may raise rates. So, that's something to consider. So depending on if you're in the same position as him or have assets sitting on the side that honestly probably in the bank they're not making you that much, but whether you could be putting that on a loan, putting that on a line of credit or whatever you may have that you're actually paying interest on, is that the better thing for you? Who knows what interest rates are going to be in 8 or 9 months?
Yeah. And there's a little bit of timing issue in my situation too, because my truck was paid off, and then my wife's vehicle went in the shop with a pretty hefty bill. So I used the positive equity on my truck to clear the negative equity, and we basically had to purchase 2 new vehicles starting over. And so whereas refinancing, I guess, might make more sense now, if we were in a position to do so, we just bought the cars, so
Sure.
we can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is different for everyone. I asked him, I said, so if you don't use this money, y'all are selling a camper, right?
Yes.
So if you don't use this money, if you don't pay down the debt on the vehicles, what are you going to do with it? And he's like, I don't know. So that's also one of the questions that we ask everybody that comes in our office.
Yeah.
What if they have? I met with a lady last week that had saved up money, and she was going. I don't know if they were going to build a shop or something on their property, but their plans had changed. And I said, well, so what are you going to do with it now? She said, well, I don't have any plans for it now. And well, do you plan on touching it in 2 to 3 years? So the scary thing, and just, I think anybody would agree, the market is, it's out of the universe almost. I think today is June 22nd, but I think it's down a little bit today.
And I would have never thought, just as somebody new to this, I would have never thought that with market just like busting through the ceiling like it does, that it would still be as crazy volatile with just as much downside potential in the upside.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been wild to see.
I met with a guy this morning, and he said, well, I don't want to make any changes because I've been making 20 or 30% a year. And I said, well, man, that's awesome. But
can't last forever.
But on the other side of that, well, what happens if you lose 20 to 30% next year? It would drastically change your way of thinking. So that's something that I mentioned to him.
That was one of the questions you asked me, was like, what's going to happen if that money becomes 15, 20% less?
Yeah.
Are you going to be upset?
Yeah, you're gonna worry about that.
Yeah.
You're going to be upset. Also, whenever you refinance, like I had a vehicle loan. This has been 4 or 5, well, I guess it was pre-COVID, so however long ago that was. But we refinanced it through a local credit union and saved a ton of money doing it. But there was some processing fees, some document cost, whatever the bank or credit union at that time, whatever they I mean, they're going to make their money off of it. But if you can save money, that's one thing.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story is it depends, because it really does. It depends on what your goals are with it, how long you plan on. If you do invest it, do you have any other need for that in the next 2 to 3 years? Because again, you'd hate to throw it in the market and buy a low-cost ETF. Which is, for somebody our age, that's a really great thing generally to invest in. Theory is that the definition of time for me, I'm 39 as well, is different than my great aunt, and is different than my in-laws. My daughter's definition of time, she's 12, that's totally different than mine, because statistically, I'll be around longer than my in-laws and my great aunt. My daughter will be around longer than me. So, the more risk that you can take, you just have to be able to stomach that risk if you do invest it in the market.
So the actual moral of the story is have a financial advisor.
Yeah, I mean, and it really is, the purpose of these videos is not to get, I guess the purpose of the videos is to get you thinking, because it is. I mean, you want, there's not a cookie cutter thing for anyone. I was talking to a guy in church this week, and he said, "Oh, well, do y'all do annuities?" And I said, "Well, we do. We do for some people."
It depends.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, what do y'all do for others?" And I said, "Well, some people don't have any annuities at all. A lot of our clients don't have any annuities at all. But also, some people, annuities fit really great inside their retirement plan. So it's never, ever too early to start thinking about, later on down the road. Whenever I had just gotten out of college and I was offered the job here. I was actually Gibby's. I was the marketing guy 15 years ago whenever Steve Irwin hired me. Hated marketing, still hate marketing, hate it with a passion, but that's what paid the bills at the time. But whenever I was offered the job, I remember talking to my great aunt, who's like my mother, about it, and she said, "Well, what do the retirement benefits look like?" And I was working at that time at Bank of America. And Bank of America had really great retirement benefits. It would have, hands down, better than what we offer our company here, or all of our employees here, just because it was a much bigger, Fortune 500 company. But I'm so glad that I took that risk and stepped out on a limb, because my life has been forever changed by it. So,
Where some instances it might have been a safer play.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Take the benefits.
Yeah, to just take the benefits, and so.
Well,
sorry, kind of squirreled there.
That's fine. That's fine. So I know I look behind the scenes at peek behind the curtain, and I know that a large portion of our audience is younger, like we are, and so we definitely want to make sure that we're giving insight and advice to young people, because I don't want you to think just because you see these young guys up here that all of us have everything together. Because I'm just still learning, and they teach me stuff every day.
And we're not so young anymore.
Yeah, I know the gray hairs starting to set in. I took my daughter to Six Flags over the weekend in Dallas, and man, driving 5 hours to Dallas, walking 10 hours around the park, and then driving 5 hours back, really. And the first ride we rode was a wooden roller coaster, and at the very end of it, I was like,
yeah, I can't
what's
handle
happening
that.
to me? So
yeah.
So no matter what age you are, it's always a good time to start investing, and it's always a good time to get financial advice. So thanks for sticking with us. If you haven't already yet, you can subscribe to this channel to stay abreast of all the educational content that we put out moving forward. And as always, if you want to contact us, you can go to retirearkansas.com or call us at 501-623-7066.
Thank you.